So Ethereum is scalable enough, affordable enough, legal enough in the United States. It's very usable right now. But we haven't had the applications and we haven't had the consumer end users and the enterprise end users because former Chair Gensler made it really unattractive to use tokens or issue tokens or build applications in our ecosystem. So that is all behind us.
Ethereum has always been the more complex of the two crypto giants, often described as the infrastructure of the future, while Bitcoin claims the throne of digital gold. But as the Web3 revolution shifts from theory to reality, even skeptics are beginning to notice Ethereum's edge isn't just conceptual, it's practical. Behind the buzzwords and blockchain lingo lies a maturing platform that financial institutions and global corporations are quietly building on. From regulatory clarity to treasury innovation, Ethereum's evolution may finally be catching up with its promise.
So Bitcoin has had a very clear narrative, and it's got a value proposition that people can understand and get behind. It's had Michael Saylor doing a really good job growing the brand and buying lots of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's value proposition is now. Ethereum's value proposition has been perceived to be in the future. We've been building scalable infrastructure, layers of enabling infrastructure for about a decade, anticipating that all the activity of the internet and the web will move to Web3.
The comparison is inevitable. Bitcoin has the mystique of being the first. It's easy to wrap your head around. Fixed supply, digital scarcity, a hedge against inflation. But Ethereum has been slowly, deliberately constructing a new architecture. Joe Lubin emphasizes that while Bitcoin had the early narrative advantage, Ethereum was laying the groundwork for something far more expansive, an ecosystem that would support decentralized finance, stablecoins, tokenized stocks, and corporate-scale utility.
Ethereum is such an interesting story. In the last 2 months that Bitcoin has sort of been languishing, the price of ETH, you started to see kind of come back to life, and it has been outperforming Bitcoin over the past 2 months and really coming back roaring from the dead this week.
Momentum is a powerful force in crypto markets, and lately, Ethereum seems to be riding it. While Bitcoin continues to flirt with new all-time highs, Ethereum has been rallying with purpose, especially as investors rediscover its practical applications. Far from being a dormant altcoin, ETH is starting to surge again thanks to growing attention from both individual investors and institutional players.
It's about telling the Ethereum story. What does Wall Street pay attention to? It pays attention to being able to make money. What are we going to demonstrate? Because decentralization is the direction of travel for the world, we believe. We believe that we're going to see Ether and Bitcoin continue to rise over the next years and decades as we paradigm shift to more and more decentralization.
Decentralization isn't just a buzzword, at least not to Lubin and his team. It's the destination. Ethereum, with its capacity to support smart contracts and decentralized applications, is positioning itself as the platform of this movement. And for Wall Street, that's becoming an increasingly attractive narrative. Profit follows paradigm shifts, and Ethereum may be leading one.
Another cryptocurrency we don't talk as much about is Ethereum. What's behind Ethereum's rally? We're hitting it earlier, up about 20% over the last 2 months. Is that a kind of a referendum on its use cases? Because you can build things on top of Ethereum where Bitcoin's, maybe it's a currency, maybe it's, we don't really know what it is, but Ethereum actually does have a practical use.
Utility is the buzzword that keeps popping up. Ethereum isn't just a coin, it's a foundation. Bitcoin might be a store of value, but Ethereum is a store of innovation. This contrast is driving investor behavior, especially as more tangible use cases surface in the form of stablecoins, tokenized assets, and decentralized finance applications.
And so that's a reason why we and others are doing the Ether treasury strategies.
Yes.
Not only is it a great business to run, but it's going to be critical to enable the supply-demand dynamics of Ether to right size as we build more and more applications.
To further support ETH's value, Ethereum-based companies are adopting innovative treasury strategies, similar to MicroStrategy's Bitcoin playbook, but tailored to the Ethereum economy. These aren't just symbolic gestures. They're deliberate efforts to correct supply-demand dynamics and build sustainable business models that feed directly back into the Ethereum ecosystem.
ETH is really coming back. And I think to your point, you do see all of these, not just institutions on the financial side, but also big brands like Amazon and Walmart, Uber, Airbnb saying we're interested in jumping into the stablecoin game. And as Tom Lee has been saying on our air for the past couple of weeks, Ethereum really is kind of the backbone that supports all of that.
The endorsement of Ethereum from major global brands is no small matter. These companies aren't experimenting, they're preparing. The stablecoin conversation is a stepping stone into broader blockchain integration, and Ethereum is the network of choice. That puts ETH in a position to benefit from the next wave of adoption in both fintech and commerce.
So we look forward to welcoming other competitors, complementary competitors into the space and even collaborating with them.
What is the hope of this SharpLink move in terms of, does it demonstrate to the public? The public is used to thinking of MicroStrategy as a Bitcoin proxy and the use. I mean, is this to demonstrate, to sort of tell that story that you think isn't being told or hasn't told?
Yeah. It's about telling the Ethereum story. What does Wall Street pay attention to? It pays attention to being able to make money. What are we going to demonstrate? Because decentralization is the direction of travel for the world, we believe. We believe that we're going to see Ether and Bitcoin continue to rise over the next years and decades as we paradigm shift to more and more decentralization. So that's going to put a bid under these tokens, and the anticipation of us and Saylor accumulating more and more consistently, both in large chunks as well as just selling ATM. We're able to acquire tens of millions of dollars in Ether a day via these ATM sales. And so we're just going to stay the course and continue to grow the concentration of Ether per fully diluted share.
What's unfolding isn't a zero-sum game. Lubin doesn't pit ETH against BTC as rivals, but rather as companions in a larger transition away from centralized systems. The focus isn't merely on price movement, but on shifting the infrastructure of finance, commerce, and data. Ethereum's design allows it to evolve alongside, and sometimes ahead of, this transformation.
So you and your team identified SharpLink Gaming,
Yep.
which is it the first Ether treasury company?
So there have been some other treasury companies. They're pretty small scale. So like one that switched from being a Bitcoin miner to Ethereum. Yeah.
Chairman.
So Bitmine joined more recently. BTCS has not a large amount of Ether, but they've been really dedicated to becoming an early Ethereum treasury company. So we're at this point the biggest and making the biggest splash.
Initiatives like SharpLink are Ethereum's answer to MicroStrategy. By aligning capital strategy with infrastructure growth, these companies are amplifying the long-term case for ETH. They also help shift investor perception from speculative asset to foundational tech. Ethereum isn't just growing quietly anymore, it's starting to make noise. As we've seen, Ethereum's edge doesn't come from hype or scarcity. It comes from doing the work, building infrastructure, fostering utility, and now finally stepping into the spotlight of institutional finance. From regulatory clarity to major brand adoption and treasury alignment, ETH's future may not just be promising, it might already be here. And while Bitcoin remains a giant in its own right, Ethereum is proving that functionality and adaptability may be just as powerful as scarcity and narrative.
What are we going to demonstrate? Because decentralization is the direction of travel for the world.
What do you think? Will Ethereum's practical use cases eventually eclipse Bitcoin's digital gold status? Or will the two carve out separate but equal roles in the future of finance? Let us know in the comments below.